in Atlanta. This was a preseason game. My goodness, the first thing I can come out with here is that feed into the league pass. Am I the only one? I noticed Lexie Hull had a bunch of minutes in this game. 14 points. Looks like she got 5 boards, 4 assists. So, let's start this out. Right here, Caitlin Clark coming down the court. Yeah, she's going to dribble, and then she's going to pull up for a long three. Bang. Right there. Beautiful three-pointer.
She's not just shooting NBA threes, she's shooting logo threes with ease. That's what analysts are saying about Caitlin Clark after watching her preseason performance.
ESPN released the viewership numbers for the Indiana Fever versus the Brazilian national team game. This was the game that was held at Iowa on Sunday. So the game averaged 1.3 million viewers. It peaked at 1.6 million. The Indiana Fever break attendance and viewership records in their preseason game against the Brazilian national team. So what does this mean for the WNBA as a whole, and can they finally become? And this was up 13% over last year's regular season ESPN average for WNBA games. So of all WNBA games last year, this was up 13% the viewership.
But the real story isn't just about Clark's extended range. The Fever just swept their entire preseason schedule, including beating Brittney Griner and the Atlanta Dream. What's crazy is how they're winning, not just through Clark, but with unexpected heroes like Lexie Hull stepping up in crucial moments. I'm breaking down exactly how this team is solving problems that usually take years to figure out. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. When the Fever came into this preseason, so many people were wondering, will Caitlin Clark actually fit with this team? Can they build chemistry fast enough?
Wicked step back three. Look her drive in, take a step back, push away. Boom. Three-pointer, beautiful, beautiful shot. She takes that step back three. It's gorgeous. Caitlin Clark already in mid-season form on the three-pointers. Right here, you're going to see her come down. Sophie Cunningham's got the ball. She's going to pass it off to Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin's going to take a wicked. How about we get a little love to Sophie Cunningham? This is going to be a pass from Caitlin Clark in as Sophie Cunningham cuts towards the basket. Right here, you're going to see her come cutting in right there with the pass. Nice little made layup.
Is their lack of experience going to hold them back? These weren't small questions. Indiana was coming off a rough season, and now they had to integrate the most hyped rookie in years while trying to turn things around. You know what's crazy? The team literally had to learn how to play together from scratch. Aaliyah Boston and Nalissa Smith were figuring out how to operate with Clark's passing style. Veterans like Kelsey Mitchell needed to adjust to not always being the first option, and Coach White was standing there with a clipboard trying to make all these pieces fit together. That first game against the Mystics showed exactly what everyone was worried about. 1 minute Clark was threading a perfect pass through defenders. The next minute someone was zigging when they should have been zagging. The potential was obvious, but the connection wasn't there yet. Clark herself was going through it too. Against the Brazilian national team, you could see her thinking, should I shoot this? Should I pass? She's used to controlling everything at Iowa, but now she's in a whole different situation with pro players around her. Coach White didn't just stick with one lineup either. She kept mixing things up, trying different combinations, seeing who played well together. It was like watching someone solve a puzzle in real time. Then came that scary moment before the Atlanta Dream game.
Because I'm not going to lie to you, it's not just you-know-who that's got an issue with made layups. There is like a pandemic in this league. I kid you not. With some of these players and their made layups. How about a little DeWanna Bonner action? You know, not that I'm trying to throw shade, but again, a made layup, which is, frankly, let's just keep going. Frankly, it's good to see in this league. Caitlin Clark to DeWanna Bonner for a bomb from downtown. Look at this. That's the tall gal. That's a tall gal hitting that. I mean, seriously.
Clark collided with a practice player during their final workout, hitting the same leg she'd already strained. The entire Fever fan base held their collective breath. Would she even play? Was the perfect preseason already over? But Clark just shrugged it off and played anyway. 23 minutes, 13 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. That's not just talent, that's toughness. The real test came when Clark wasn't on the floor though. What would happen then? That's where Indiana surprised everyone. Different players stepped up each game. When Clark sat, the offense didn't collapse. When she struggled, someone else found their rhythm. By the end of preseason, the Fever weren't just Clark's team. They were a complete unit that finished a perfect 3-0. Those question marks had turned into exclamation points, and one player in particular emerged from nowhere to become the X factor nobody saw coming. Everyone's talking about Caitlin Clark, but did you catch what Lexie Hull did in that fourth quarter against Atlanta? That wasn't just good, that was game-changing. Hull came into preseason as that player you probably didn't even notice on the roster. Last year, she was mostly sitting on the bench, getting a few minutes here and there. Nothing special, right? But what a lot of people forgot is that Hull actually started getting hot at the end of last season. She was knocking down threes and playing solid defense, giving us a tiny preview of what was coming. The first 2 preseason games, Hull was basically invisible. All eyes were on Clark, hitting those deep threes and making fancy passes. Hull was just there, playing her minutes, not messing up but not standing out either. Then that Atlanta game happened. First quarter, Hull comes in and immediately gets a steal. Second quarter, she hits a 3. You could see her confidence building with every play. By the third quarter, she was calling for the ball, making decisive moves, cutting to the basket with purpose. What's crazy is how much her game has improved. Her defensive positioning is way better. She's anticipating passes instead of reacting to them. Her shot selection is smarter too. She's not forcing anything. Coach White even said, "When you accept your role as Lexie does, you can't allow it to put you in a box." That's exactly what Hull is doing, playing her role, but expanding it at the same time. The connection between Clark and Hull is getting scary good too. Clark will look one way and then fire a pass to Hull cutting back door. Or Hull will set a screen, pop out to the three-point line, and Clark hits her in perfect rhythm. This might become one of the most dangerous offensive combinations in the league. That fourth quarter against Atlanta was when everything clicked. Hull exploded for 11 of her 14 points when the game was tight. Pull-up jumpers, corner threes, driving layups. She was cooking. This changes everything for Indiana. They're not just Caitlin Clark and some other players anymore. With Hull emerging as a legitimate scoring threat, defenses can't just focus on stopping Clark. The Fever suddenly have depth nobody expected. What's even more exciting is what this means for the regular season. If the Fever already have this kind of chemistry and confidence in preseason, imagine what they could do when the games really matter. The Fever solved problems in 3 preseason games that most teams take seasons to figure out. That's not normal. Most rookie-led teams struggle to find their identity, but Indiana's already clicking. Yeah, they went 3-0, but the wins aren't even the important part. It's how Clark is stretching defenses with her crazy range. It's Hull stepping up when nobody expected it. It's the chemistry forming way faster than anyone thought possible. May 17th against Chicago on ABC is where things get real. The Sky will throw everything at Clark and this team. But for the first time in years, the Fever have answers instead of questions.